There needs to be a counterspell here. Revitalize. Oh no. This is rewarding. This is worth getting back in the game for. You know what I mean? It's big hit. It's big hit. I wish we could untap that land, right?
Be wary of ground you walk on.
Good game. That is actually lethal damage as well. That's insane, right? You can spam out so hard. This was our turn 4, right? We have 4 lands in play, and we're hitting for 9, 19, 22 total. Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for taking the time to watch Hello Good Game. We're playing Historic today. Nissa, Steward of the Elements, is the Planeswalker that our deck is built around. This is a new Mythic Planeswalker from Amonkhet Remastered, and it is a house. It's Simic, so you know it's powerful, right? It's scaling, which is amazing, and it has the ability to flood the field with lands similar to the Nissa Who Shakes the World could do, but instead of 3/3s, they're 5/5s, and you get 2 of them instead of 1. The drawback is that they leave the battlefield at the end of turn. However, Nissa, Steward of the Elements, is an incredibly cheap planeswalker that can be played early on for the +2 ability to scry 2, right? You can play it for 3, take your scry 2 and go from there. Or late game, you can dump it on the field for 10, for 12, do the -6, make the flyers, and then go from there afterwards. So Nissa, Steward of the Elements, has a lot of utility early game and a lot of utility late game, which makes it great for a ramp mid-range deck. As always, we're going to break down the deck list in its entirety, going through each individual card. Then we're going to talk about the deck's strategies and synergies. How do all of those individual cards come together to form a really well-working, coherent archetype? Then we're going to watch some gameplay footage where we break down all of the play lines and interactions between this deck and the rest of the decks within the meta. It's not solely enough to know how your deck operates, but you need to know how it's going to interact and engage with the rest of the environment. Right now, it is the Amonkhet Remastered environment. We are still waiting for Zendikar, and we are taking a little bit of a break from Standard just to, get some new exciting stuff while we do wait for Standard to shift up with the rotation. Finally, we do have our closing thoughts where we go through any deck upgrades or adjustments that we'd like to make to it. Just closing thoughts on the gameplay footage from the day. And then we have like a vlog style close up, a bunch of stuff that you won't care about the channel and my personal life, etc., right? So, again, if you do find value within any of my videos, I really encourage you to visit the homepage of the channel here, hit that subscribe button, join if you so choose to, and then check out the way we've got our page laid out. We have popular uploads if you're looking for the bangers, free-to-play decks, beginner guides, standard decks, historic decks, brawl decks, tools and tips, and even some limited. So no matter what you're into, we've got it covered for you within Hello Good Game. Talking about metagenics, which is what I've labeled this Simic mid-range deck focusing around Nissa, Steward of the Elements. It's going to start out with 4 copies of Gilded Goose. This is a 0/2 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, create a food token, pay 2 plus tap it to create another food token. Once it's on the battlefield, Summoning Sickness is gone. This is a cool thing to do as a chump block or even just on your opponent's end step. We could also tap it to sacrifice a food, adding 1 mana of any color to our pool. Llanowar Elves, this is a 1/1 in which we can tap to add 1 green mana source. Into our 2-drops, Nissa, Steward of the Elements. Now we already talked about this. It is in with our 2-drops, but it really should be in with our 3-drops, so we'll get to that in a second. The same goes with our Krasis. Kinnan, Bond, or Prodigy. This is a 2/2, and whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana of any type that permanent produced. We can also pay 7 to look at the top 5 cards of our library. You may put a non-human creature card from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. 4 copies of Growth Spiral, instant speed. Draw a card, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. 2 copies of Ilysian Caryatid. This is a 1/1 which we can tap to add 1 mana of any color. If we control a creature with power 4 or greater, add 2 mana of any 1 color instead. Into our 3-drops, 4 copies of Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, 6/6. When it enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it's escaped. The escape cost is 4, 2 green and 2 blue mana pool, exiling 5 other cards from our graveyard as well. Whenever Uro enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life and draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. 2 copies of Hydroid Krasis. Now this is a base cost of 2 plus X. It's a 0/0, so you need to put it into the battlefield for 3 at the very min to have it as a 1/1. Flying, trample. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain half X life and draw half X cards rounded down each time. Hydroid Krasis enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. So if you cast it for 4, you'll gain 1 life and draw a card. And then anything above that is bonus rounds. Nissa, Steward of the Elements. This is a similar casting cost for 2 plus X. It's a legendary planeswalker that comes in with X loyalty, has a +2 of Scry 2, 0 ability of look at the top card of your library if it's a land card or a creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of loyalty counters on Nissa, Steward of the Elements. You may put that card onto the battlefield. -6, untap 2 target lands you control. They become 5/5 elemental creatures with flying and haste until end of turn. They are still lands. Into our 5-drops, 2 copies of Nissa Who Shakes the World. This is a 5 loyalty planeswalker with a static ability of whenever you tap a forest for mana, add an additional green source. +1, put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target non-creature land you control. Untap it, it becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with vigilance and haste that is still a land. -8, you get an emblem with lands you control have indestructible. Search your library for any number of forest cards, put them into the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. 4 copies of Elder Gargaroth, a 6/6, vigilance, reach, and trample. Whenever it attacks or blocks, choose 1. Create a 3/3 green beast creature token, gain 3 life, draw a card. And finally, coming up for 8, we have the Craterhoof Behemoth, a 5/5 with haste. When it enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain trample and get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. These spells are accompanied by 8 islands, 8 forests, 4 breeding pools, and 4 hinterland harbors. No sideboard, we're playing best of 1 today. That's the deck list for Metagenics, a Simic mid-range creature-based deck. Let's break down the strategies and synergies. So there's a couple really cool interactions within this deck that I want to bring up. The first and foremost is Kinnan's ability for 7 can be used at instant speed. This is best used on your opponent's attack phase before you've declared blockers. You will use the ability and you will hopefully punch out an Elder Gargaroth, which can immediately block, either gaining you 3 life, drawing you a card, or creating that 3/3 green beast creature token, thereby reducing the chance that your opponent will have instant speed removal to use on it during that block phase. And then once your opponent's turn has ended, hopefully, again, they spent their mana early, they either don't have the mana for removal or just don't have the removal, and now their turn ended, you got that 3/3 or whatever, boom, it's your turn, you can immediately attack with it with vigilance because the summoning sickness will have come off of it when it was blocking on your opponent's turn, which is very powerful. So Kinnan's ability on your opponent's attack phase right before you declare your own blockers is ideal. You know, even getting the Craterhoof out there is not a bad scenario, just to buff everybody up and then you can like block with everyone, right? So Kinnan is, you know, the star of the show here. Looking at the top 5 cards of your library is super powerful. It does cost 7, so that's expensive. But what we can do is we ramp, right? We push Nissa out for 5, for 6, for 7, or 8. Obviously, I would try to stick to either 5 or 8 because we won't be pushing anything out for 6 or 7. So, you know, potentially probably just going to 5. And then we use the 0 ability on the same turn that they were dropped. So 5 mana. Well, actually, I guess it would be 7 mana gets used for Nissa. We use the 0 ability. And then we're able to play a Gargaroth for 5. So really, it's like Nissa only costs 2 if you can get the 0 ability to hit for as many mana as you've used to cast it. So in this case, we're casting it for 5, 7 total. And then we use the 0 ability while getting that 5 mana, which we dumped into Nissa, back onto the field from the 0 ability via Elder Gargaroth. And now that can be done with any creatures. It's just make sure that X equals the creature that you pull, and it was like it was for free, and you still get to keep the Nissa, Steward of the Elements, for whatever you paid, which is valuable. That's very cool. So that's like the main spaghetti. Let's try to talk about the meatballs a little bit here. Nissa Who Shakes the World. Doubling our mana pool is incredible. Pushing out Hydroid Krasises, 10/10s, 20/20s is not a big deal, especially with Nissa on the field. We also have a lot of ramp through Llanowar Elves, through Gilded Goose, through our Cardrid, which are all doubled through our Kinnan Bond or Prodigy. Whenever you tap a non-land permanent for mana, add 1 mana of any type that permanent produced. So these will all tap for 2. We also have Growth Spiral as organic ramp, and then Uro as well as a little bit of organic ramp. So Kinnan will also really help, like it helps the ramp, and then it helps us push creatures out. So both Kinnan has really nice early game responsibilities, which pushes our ramp up further. It can get us into that Nissa earlier. It can get us into the Gargaroth earlier, right? But it also has that late game utility for the 7 when we're pushing out Elder Gargaroth on our block phase. So similar to Nissa, how it's got that early game utility of the +2 to scry 2, it also has a really nice late game utility of the -6 and the 0 ability. So that's quite neat. And you know, the Craterhoof Behemoth will make everything get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control. When we're flooding the field with ramp, the Llanowar Elves, the Gilded Goose, the Cartridge, the Bond or Prodigy, and you know, we play the Craterhoof Behemoth on top of that, that's going to be near lethal damage immediately. And you can win games with Craterhoof Behemoth as early as turn 4, right? You play like a elf, a goose into your Bond or Prodigy. Next turn you play a land, and there's your Elder Gargaroth, so on and so forth, right? And then the turn after that you can drop your Behemoth or whatever. So the pace of the games, like I mentioned earlier, can be very, very quick getting those turn 4 wins. But if your opponent has disruption, it can also go into that long con. So we've got a match for you today. I think it's like 3 or 4 minutes where we've got that turn 4 win. And then we've got another one, I think it's like 45 minutes, where we go literally to the end of the game when we're both ready to mill ourselves. I've got like 75 life, and it's just a powerhouse of a deck. So I know you're really going to enjoy it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share to a friend, hit that bell icon so you're notified of all of our future uploads. Last month we gave away 120,000 gems. We have 350,000 still to give away, so don't miss out. Jump into our Discord, and we also have free entry monthly tournaments, Brawl, Artisan, all that jazz with cash prizes as well. So don't miss out. Come grow your collection. Join one of the best Magic the Gathering arena communities available here at Hello Good Game. The Overwolf link is available to you guys as well who are interested in checking out MTGA Assistant, one of the best additions to the game. You're going to get deck write-ups, deck videos, metagame analysis, literally everything you could possibly want within one app. So check out the Overwolf link in the description below for that, and then the Linktree link will have all of the other jazz. We're live every morning, 6 a.m. Mountain Standard, on YouTube at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard. We go live on Twitch, and then we're back again on YouTube in the evening at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard. If you don't want to do the time conversions, I showed you where the links are. Just go subscribe, go follow, and you're going to be notified of when we do go live. So thanks for watching, you guys. Really appreciate it. Don't forget to watch to the end for my final thoughts and new style of vlog that you don't care about that we're still doing. And yeah, enjoy. Thank you for your time and attention. We'll talk to you in a few minutes. Any hand with a Growth Spiral is just inherently good. No Gilded Goose or Llanowar Elf kind of stings a bit, but this is not so bad. You know, we could push the first one out just for the scries to make sure we get our drops. Counter on our Growth Spiral, probably. Negative. Alright, so they're spending a little bit of mana at least. With only 2 land up, we should be able to Wile. You know, it could be a counterspell, which would make us sad. Quench, pay 2. Let's just go for it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sure there's a counterspell here, but we have a second copy, right? It was a Censor for pay 1. Oof. Oof. Big oofs, boys. Teferi. Pretty annoying.
Hold that thought.
Prodigy's really nice. That definitely warrants a counter if they have it. Yikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's play Uro. Should be able to go around it. Putting out a huge Krasis would be really nice. And we'll just play this for 1. And then we'll take the +2 for Scries.
We will not harness the elements.
Breeding Pool into our Krasis. It's never good to have a Teferi on the board.
You know what?
Taking the draw, untapping 2 lands at the end step. Cycling for 2. Those lands untap, that's gross. Right, that's so good. So we're probably completely locked out here. This is going to be bad. The only thing that might save us is Nissa's -6. We can take the Scry and line up a nice draw for Kinnan, which we already knew Gargaroth was there. And we can do this instant speed, which is very beneficial for us. Yeah. Sphinx Revelation. Gain life, draw cards. Pretty nice, right? For all they know, we have counterspells available. Third from the top. That's fine.
Let's take it back a step.
There's no shuffle involved there. There is here, though. Activating Kinnan's ability. Gargaroth comes in play. They only have 4 mana to deal with it. Could be a field wipe. Yeah, we get the draw. Field's gone. Plenty more of that, I'm sure. There's no counterspell here, so I think let's go for it. Probably playing into a second Shatter or Wrath of God. If not, though, we're in a good spot. It's a lot of cards in hand to not have one, though. You know what I mean? Nascanta. Okay. That's 7, 8, 9. We can cast this for 7. Hydroid Krasis is really nice against counter magic. It can be countered, but the effects still trigger. Pushing the Krasis back to our deck really is not the worst case scenario for us either. Each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their library and then draws 7 cards. Interesting. That's sorcery speed. Using his Ascanta for an absorb. Nice. Ooh. Oh, and actually, let's kill Teferi quick.
How long do you want to wait for a rematch?
Use Uro because we can recast it later. So even if he does hit it with the absorb, which he will, we're not losing that card advantage. Or in our case, disadvantage, because look at his hand. Ooh! We see the absorb. We may as well goose out as well. Ending our turn. Skanta is powerful. Nice. Another absorb. It's awesome. Let's toss Gargaroth into the counter. How about another? Please, sir, may I have some more? I'm gonna keep Bonder in hand. We have plenty of field presence. We're drawing a Krasis next, which is cool. More Sunken Ruins. Ooh, into a Teferi. Very good. Right? That can sink our Gargaroth back to the library. That will allow us to kill Teferi, though.
You need to take a time out.
Ram still can't save Teferi. Fairy's gone.
Really should have seen.
There's no counter here, but I don't want to play the Bonder into some jazz, right? So QQ, we've got 8, 9, 10. Cast our Krasis for 8. Drawing 4, gaining 4 life. got our Behemoth, we've got a Gargaroth. He can't deal with the Krasis. Oh, settle the wreckage, of course. Of course he does. This guy's straight savage.
I'm known for my excellent.
This will be the third Teferi. If there's no bounce, we should just be able to force the wreckage on the Krasis. Right? Take the land for that. Let's play Uro. Just keep pushing our advantage as much as we can. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Zero for the ramp / creature. Well, another Nissa. It's not bad in case he removes ours. We can hit for 10, which is really nice. Just bounce it. Respectable.
Reverse.
Ooh, okay. Restarting the game here. Wow, that's a lot of land. How did that happen? I guess we have to hope they got boned as well. Let's try to kill this Teferi.
How long do you want to wait for a rematch?
Uro in play. There's counter magic that we're worried about, so let's progress with Uro. Land in play. Land in play. I mean, we can't play our Uro again. Kind of a bummer. And you just know that there's a field wipe in there, right? We have enough cards that if they do field wipe, it's not bad. Let's save Nissa so we can maybe just push it in for like 10 -6 for the Flyers. Maybe. This is quite the match we've fallen into here. Okay, so here's the wipe that we were concerned about. Let's make the food token. This is going to give us enough creatures in our graveyard to cast Uro, I believe. Yeah. Another Teferi.
Right on schedule. Keep up the pace.
Man, I wish we had some couldn't be counter magic. They're at 34, we're at 31. Let's push our Uro. If it's countered, we can replay it later. The only thing is filling our graveyard up again. We will see a counterspell, I think. That's fine. So we still think that there's counter magic available. We have 6. We could push to 7. Cast Nissa for 5. Scry 2. Oof. We pass our turn. We could have tried to push for a Behemoth. And then attacked Teferi, I guess. But it's unlikely. The card we would pull is Uro. But that's not even that bad, right? The instant speed interaction from Kinnan kind of like helps us a little bit. We don't get completely screwed. Untapping their land. They should have Ascanted and then untapped it. Same as the Castle Ardenvale. That could have been done to make 2 tokens. I guess it's just Uro. Takes the draw, puts the land in play. Okay, now we're talking here. How many counterspells are in his hand? Can we play around it? Because if we could get a Nissa in for the attack on Teferi, that would be a lot of fun. We're sitting on 12, 14 mana. We need 5. That gives us 9. 10 with that land. Nice cheap Nissa. They are not going to counter that. But it gives us the scry too. Oh, we do see the counter. One, two, three, 4. Oh man. Let's go for it. No counter magic. Another absorb. That's so good. That's so good. We're gonna get the Behemoth to kill Teferi here. $41 life. Let's just hit Teferi in case there's some single target interruption. It's annoying, and I hate it. Oof. Big oofs. Oh, Lord have mercy. Our opponent's at 29. We're down to 25. We have a massive draw to lay in as well.
Hurry.
Is there a win condition here? Or it's just Teferi's -8? Earl's great. Pay life. Play into more counter spells.
Witness the time behind us all.
One, two, three, four. Oh, I don't even know. Let's just take 10. Actually, 7. That'll be what? 14. That just happens to be all of our mana. Nice. We refill our entire hand. Right. I guess we could have done a forest and placed our goose. Just a chump block, I'm sure. We have 3 Gargaroths in hand. Oh gosh. It just goes to show the power of some of these Nissa spells, right? These planeswalkers are beast mode. More Skantas. Sphinx of Revelations is massive at this point. I don't think they're going to want to draw the whole library, though, is the thing. We don't really have anything left in our library, is the thing. Right? There's another Uro. That's it. Everything else has been dealt with. It's all in exile.
You know what? I'm not done yet.
We're sitting at 16. They're at 23. I mean, in theory, this Krasis could bash, right? It could smash and it could bash. They have ECDs too, which they just played. I was like, oh, look at it, it's in the list, and then my Nissa's gone. And now we get shattered. Right? They've got, I guess, more Teferis to bring back with ECD. I think that's good game. Right? Our only hope here is to avoid a counterspell with Nissa. Oh, this is interesting. The Goose. The Bonder. This is why so much land kind of does come in handy. We've got 15 land still. We need 6 for Nissa. So that gives us 9. And we need to use 5, 6, 7, 8. That only gives us 1. Oh, the 6 will cost for 8. Shoot. Does that work? 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 3, 7 only. We need 8. Shoot, 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 shoot. So we could cast this for 5. I think we still could have done it. Math. Right? We cast this for 5. We were going to cast this for 8. 6, 7. Oh yeah, no, that's right. That's right. One shy. So hopefully there's no counterspell here. Teferi, that's fine. Leave us alone. Sphinx Revelation. For some reason, I thought this gave everybody haste. LOL. Whoops. Should have saved that for a turn and definitely went in with Nissa or another Gargaroth.
Now what?
What a terrible misplay to end the game, right? We had a chance and we blew it. But even that, it would have been like 19, 25, 29 damage only. So it's like, it was so much life. We can still play our Nissa, and these flyers will have haste, though, right? So as long as there's no field wipe here. We've got 3 wipes in the grave. It means there's like 10 more in hand. But they would have used it. Ooh, takes the Bonder, which is fine, because there's nothing for us to pull with the Bonder anymore. It's all in hand. I imagine they play the Teferi. Another search. They have so much land. I'm happy that we were able to go the distance with the control deck at least, right? We didn't just get boxed out immediately. Two to the bottom. They're down to 20. We were at 13. Let's push Uro, try to pull the counterspell.
I can help you no longer.
I think it did get held up there and he denied it. 6, 10, 11, I don't even know. Let's cast for like 8 or 10, sure. Who cares? It gives us 2, 3 mana available. We need it above 6. Let's just cast for 6. Or 7 so we don't kill it. That still gives us 4, 5, 6. Wow. There must be, right? There has to be.
When the land speaks, I shall listen.
Untap them, right? Let's hit for 10. I know there's a settled wreckage. That's why we're not attacking all in, right? We're doing a decent amount of work, in all honesty. We have to keep these Gargaroths in hand too, in case there is a field wipe. Takes a big old draw. Here comes a Teferi.
Trust me, you'll thank me later.
One ram, that's fine. This has been like probably like a half an hour match here. Half an hour best of one match. Seems legit. No way. We've been exiling our graveyards the whole time. Right, we don't have a graveyard. We just lose our hand. Oh, we do regain it. Nice.
Let's skip to the good part.
This is still a match somehow. Right? I mean, I would wipe it if I had it, right? Wouldn't you? It's still not enough damage because they've gained so much life. Having this second Nissa does help. That's going to be, you know, an additional 10 damage, hopefully. Just gaining a little bit of life. At 32, that's not really too important, I don't think. 4 land left. Let's see what you got, boy. They got 24, we're down to 8 because they shuffled back in. We've been exiling. Yeah, don't we normally get that little timer? It's like, you've been playing this game too long. Right? We both have 3 timeouts. We've been being really respectful. We're already milling ourselves, so, you know, why not? We've got 2 more Nissas in hand, which could be pretty useful. Right?
The land shall conquer.
So, we have to assume there's a settle the wreckage, but at the same time, right? But at the same time, kill the Teferi, just place a new Teferi. Let's go big. The drawing from Arrow is actually unpleasant. Can we kill him before we mill ourselves? That's the question. No, there's no settle the wreckage. Interesting. We'll obviously block Uro. Blocks the one with trample, makes sense. Okay. Let's play a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter. End our turn here. It's getting weird, I'll admit. We're at 51 life, they're down to 27. They've got 22 cards in library, we're down to 5. They got a full mitt, we got a small mitt. Fairy in play is annoying. We're getting close to lethal on board, but that... Yummy. Okay. Woof. That's a big wipe, right? More blockers. I'm sure there's counter magic as well. It wasn't just field wipes, it was also counter magic that they had. There's Settle the Wreckage. Nice. Right? Big time bummer. I guess we just mill ourselves. Right? We'll end the game. There's nothing we're doing. Yeah, it's a good game. Try. No one makes me bleed my own blood. They just tapped too many manas. If only somehow we could deal 25 damage this turn. Or 35. Ooh. Yeah, my turn. And let's get some health in, right? Gain that life up, baby. Our opponent is obviously about that patience metagame, so let's give them what they want. Isn't there that card? It's like if you've got like 50 more life than your starting total, you win the game or something. That could come in handy. Even though we're still a few shy. We could maybe cycle arrows. We've doubled our life total. That must mean we win, right? Try. We're gonna cast this Nissa for 20. I'm sure there's a counterspell, but regardless. Look at this little lady.
Seek shelter in my stewardship.
Oh, cry.
The land fights for us.
Sell the wreckage. Coming at us. They just let it hit because they can play another Teferi.
Let me know if you're up.
Stop it. This has been the best game of Magic I've played all month, I'm sure of it. We're over 40 minutes for this match. If you win, I'll subscribe.
Sorry.
In what world? If I win, I retire. I've done it. I've done something. You know, this Settle the Wreckage won the game a while ago, right? We have 3 turns left. This is still a game somehow. Nice. Do you have one for this one? This guy's probably so fed up with us. Like, why does he keep dropping these Elder Gargaroth? Another Uro in play. If this was anyone else, we would have smashed them into oblivion. But this guy's got full control out. Just been dealing with us absolutely perfect. We've reached our goal, which was 69 life. We've done it. Now we can concede. Oh gosh. They're back up to 40. They're doing a little bit of work in the life department. Let's close it out. Good game. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. Especially not Teferi. Did we have another card to draw? I thought we had an empty library. Interesting. We drew a Gargaroth. I'm sure that was our last card. Regardless. What a match of Magic. Teferi in the house. You know, these are the kind of matches you find in Platinum 4. So that was a match of Magic. Right? I think we only have time for one more here. Maybe we'll get a win. Hopefully. I shall pray. No tax. I mean, early Nissa into a Craterhoof is just strictly good. Right? There has to be a negate or a veto. An omen. Oh no. Ouchies. There 100% needs to be a counterspell next turn.
I will protect the virtue of this world. Harness the elements.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll play this. 5, 6, 7, 8. It sucks that we have to tap the forest. But then we can untap another forest after. Yeah. I mean, you know, Nissa on board state, turn 3 is unpleasant. Oh, so unpleasant, it's janked up our game. Right? Uh-oh, let's reopen the client, see if we can get back into it. Maybe I'll close some other windows. You just never know. I've got the Zendikar Adventure YouTube premiere up, and you know, I feel like that might have something to do with it. So let's jump back in the game. Oopsie whoopsie. You know, classic stuff.
I protect that which cannot protect itself.
There's like a special key combination. Okay, we'll pay this. We'll play our big boy. There needs to be a counterspell here. Revitalize. Oh no. This is rewarding. This is worth getting back in the game for. You know what I mean? It's big hit. It's big hit. I wish we could untap that land, right?
Be wary of the ground you walk on.
Good game. That is actually lethal damage as well. That's insane, right? You can spam out so hard. This was our turn 4, right? We have 4 lands in play, and we're hitting for 9, 19, 22 total because of the land that we brought in. So just a perfect turn 4 win. with Nissa at the helm. Woof. Alright everybody, so this was Metagenics, a Simic ramp deck that revolves around creatures and primarily Nissa Planeswalkers to make those creatures much more viable. Kinnan is quickly becoming one of my favorites. It helps with the ramp, and then you can late game huge dummies into the field instant speed. I absolutely love it. As far as deck upgrades go, I think we're pretty dialed in. I think potentially some growth spirals could go, and more Krasises could come in. We could even bring in more Nissa Who Shakes the World potentially. I think it's safe though, and I think it's really close to being perfect. Being able to win on turn 4 is it's nice, right? That's ideal. I think we crushed out 22 damage, and we even had 7 damage tapped on the field as well, so 29 was ready to hit. A lot of damage there, and then we also went long con, right? We played that 45-minute match and held our own, even through a couple misplays, which is always really nice to see, right? So a great historic deck. I'm glad I was able to make Nissa Steward of the Elements work. That's not something I've seen done yet, so I'm pretty sure that this is an original deck as far as the arena scene goes. So use it while it's hot, crush your opponents with Elder Gargaroth and Craterhoof Behemoth. Make sure to use them instant speed with your Kinnan, and yeah, have fun. Let me know in the comments how you make out, if you liked it, and all that jazz, right? So I really appreciate your guys' continued time and attention here on the channel. It's skyrocketing. We've got new thumbnails, really positive feedback on that. We are looking forward to trying to get this website up and running still. It's a little bit slow. I don't have so much time in the day. We're getting ready to film another episode of Friday Night Podcast here. So every Friday, FNM Podcast comes out with myself, and I. Myself, Dr. Spillikin, and Jeff. When we get together, it kind of does feel like it's just a few more versions of myself, which is really, really nice. It's a good time talking with the boys. So if you want to get in on that, just search up Friday Night Magic. I know you can find it on the Dr. Spillikin's channel as well. So yeah, with that all out of the way, big shout out to all of our financial support, Twitch, Patreon, YouTube. We've only maybe got 50 or 60 members, but regardless, every dollar counts. Every Twitch Prime counts, boys. Right? $2 is nothing, but when you do start to have that audience of, 70,000 people every month, it should be able to work, and, I should be able to at least pay my rent. Thank you guys so much for making, this avenue possible for me. Without you, the viewers, these videos would be dead and not converting, and I would be working a real job, and that's sad. So I really appreciate it, you guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care. You know our upload schedule. You know where to find the links. All of that. Peace.